going on, people? It's your boy King, man. I'm back one time.
with this truck I just saw. One less thing for you to complain about now. The tree limbs are gone.
at the airport, but 46 sustained along the coast.
That's right.
In Flower Bluff and in Port 8. What about gusts? So here the gusts now approaching 60 miles per hour in Port Aransas, Flower Bluff and Corpus Christi 44 at the airport. Here in Corpus Christi 49 up in Rockport.
And yet, these are going to be a major factor in that as a result of those high winds. Most people still have power. According to AEP, only about 2,500 people at this moment are without power in 5 areas surrounding Corpus Christi. And we'll keep a watch on that for you. In fact, we'll have one of our crews out looking at the areas that are being hit by power outages. We know it's going to happen,
right?
But we'll be out to focus on the areas and try to get some idea of how long it's going to take to restore power once that is lost.
Let me interject 2 things. First of all, this is, I was showing Scott, our production manager, this map. So he's looking at it, and I said, this is the wind. He looks, he says, I thought that was the temperature.
Yeah.
So at midnight tonight, 88 mile per hour sustained winds in Corpus Christi. 88. But look at where the eye is, up near Rockport. All right. So that'll be at midnight tonight. And then the wind, I mean, dies down. Still tropical storm force winds tomorrow, and then even Sunday it gets a little bit better. But now look at midnight tonight. If the eye, and again, this is a computer model.
If the eye, and again, this is a computer model. If the eye does indeed go up in that area,
Right.
that red band around Corpus Christi,
Yeah.
that's the eye wall.
Right.
So that would be significant stormy weather.
Right. The potential for serious
The potential
damage
is there.
is right there.
Then-
but that is the time, I think you'd
That's
agree,
what we're
Bill,
looking at,
when
yeah.
people who are here need to just hunker down, stay obviously off the street, stay out. You wouldn't be able to do that. You wouldn't be able to walk around in that kind of.
In fact, Bill Churchwell actually just came in less than 30 minutes ago, and he was saying, remember, he was telling us
Yep.
that his car was swaying back and forth
Yeah.
because of the wind. He drives like a small SUV, and he's so happy that he made it in even before 2 o'clock,
Sure.
because he said it's just not the time. And even right now, that some of the streets are already flooded, and we haven't even seen anything yet. And that's what he's reporting coming down from the south side. So.
Tell you what, let's do now. Let's take a look at what's happening out on the city marina. Our Brianna Whitney is there live for us to give us an update on what's happening in downtown Corpus Christi, right on the bayfront there. Brianna?
So in the last hour, we've seen stronger winds, definitely. That's been the most noticeable thing out here. The rain is still coming down fairly hard, but that hasn't changed a whole lot. But that wind is definitely making the Corpus Christi Marina very choppy, very dangerous, and it might be hard to see in the camera, but those waves in the bay, which does not normally happen, are just crashing over the jetty and into the seawall, and we expect them to continue to get bigger and more dangerous. And just to give you a perspective of the wind, I want to zoom up here to the palm trees. My back is facing the wind, but check this out. The second I face the wind, you can really hear it in the microphone. And I know you can hear it because when Heather was doing her live shot, I could hear the wind blowing there too. She was saying it was almost blowing her over. I kind of feel the same way. I've really had to put my feet down and hunker down. Unfortunately, we're still seeing people out here walking. It is less than earlier, but we shouldn't be seeing anybody out here right now. We are taking precautions, making sure we're inside our car until our live shot time happens. But there are people still walking out here along the bayfront, extremely dangerous. Now, I right before this live shot, I talked to both Alan Holt and Bill Vesey. Bill was telling me that the wind speeds, the sustained speeds, were about 37 with gusts of 50 miles per hour, give or take. Alan thought that gusts were actually up to between 60 and 70 miles per hour in this area right now. So those numbers are shocking in and of themselves. And the worst part.
Okay, there's the live shot. That kind of stuff obviously is going to happen to us right now, just because we're live, the product of live TV.
Yeah.
But we actually have Curtis Quinlan, who is from our KCN sister station out of Waco. He was out of Padre Island earlier and actually put a little something together for us to see.
Let's take a look.
Guys, on North Padre, in the last few minutes, the winds, the rains, everything has picked up extremely in intensity. Take a look at some of these trees over here next to this hotel where you can just see them bowing in the wind. We don't have a wind gauge with us to be able to tell you exactly what the wind speeds are here. It wasn't like this an hour ago, wasn't like this an hour and a half ago. This has increased rapidly, very quickly. We'll take a look here at South Padre Island Drive as people are driving back to the mainland. When you compare it with how few people we saw on the roads earlier today, this is a very big spike in traffic as people are trying now to get back to the mainland as Hurricane Harvey continues to push toward Corpus Christi. We're on North Padre. Curtis Quillen, 3 News.
All right, Curtis, thank you. We just got an update on power outages around the area.
McCardle and at Nile and Airline, that area on the near SPID there, near I guess Federal Valley, you'd say. So that area having some power issues. And keep in mind, when the power goes out, it's not going to be coming back on necessarily as we're used to having that happen when you have a power outage in a regular neighborhood. In this case, the power could stay out for quite a while, days, perhaps as long as a week or so. That certainly was the case during Celia. And it was interesting. We had Blake Farenthold here last night, you remember?
Yeah.
And we were talking about the power outages, and he was saying that, and he knows he's kind of a techie, and he knows that the technology for transmitting power to people's homes really hasn't changed over a period of 20 years or so. And
so we still have power poles.
So right. And so since Celia, not much, he says, has really advanced in that particular area, the distribution of power. And I don't know if AEP would agree with that, but that's what he said.
If I might, the county judge made an excellent point today that the AEP crews can fix it, but they may not be able to get to it.
True.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And especially if you've got flooded conditions, if you've got lines that are in the water and so forth, they can't obviously just walk in. They've got to get it out in another way. Perhaps wait till it dries out a bit. And in fact, it would be interesting. We can get someone to talk with an AEP person to give us an idea of what is involved in that.
I can make that happen.
Let's see if we can make that happen. We come up with our own questions.
We have an outage map actually that we can show you right now. Okay, there's the area of power outages along some of the outages. The dots are the ones that indicate some of the outages right now.
Okay. I wonder, because the area that we were talking about is right there in red. So it's hard to say how many people are without power, but it looks like, okay, right there. And that is just available online, just at aep.com. I believe anyone can pull that up and you can see where the outages are. Of course, if you don't have power, you'd have to use your telephone to do that. That gives you an idea. All right. And where did you want to go now, Carlos? Okay. We'll just spend some time here with Bill because we do have this additional information that's in from the National Weather Service. And really, we're talking now about a storm that appears to be moving rather quickly. We think it's going to slow down. You're saying midnight is when it's going to make landfall. And yet a lot of folks will look at that and say, that's pretty darn close. Is it going to slow down that much?
10 hours, right?
Yeah.
We've been expecting it. It's still going at 10 miles an hour. Man, if it's how far away? Can you pop up the graphic so I can see how far away? 75 miles in 7.5 hours. That's still mighty close. And so I would imagine it would slow down a little bit, not maybe to a crawl. I think it's going to slow down to a crawl. Look at that. It has a big old 3 in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Man, oh man. It's probably won't slow down to a crawl until after it makes landfall, probably Saturday or Sunday. But it'll slow down.
Any change at all in the amount of rain that's expected to come from this?
Still 15 to 25 with isolated 35. And again, so we're just throwing that out there. 15 to 25 inches. 1 to 2 feet of rain with isolated areas of a yard of rain.
Incredible.
It's incredible.
We haven't seen that much at all.
Yeah. Let me go to this next graphic. There's the eye. Governor Abbott mentioned this, and we also mentioned it earlier, that in weather like this, there will be funnel clouds, the possibility of water spouts and tornadoes.
Yes.
A lot of those dissipate or go back in the clouds before they touch water, before they touch ground. But the possibility of funnel clouds in weather like this does exist. And even though the majority of them don't touch ground or water, there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them there's a lot of them that don't touch ground. There's some that do touch ground. So be aware of that. That's some heavy rain out there. And that eye getting closer.
You're talking about Governor Abbott. Of course, he held a news conference just a short time ago talking about the state's response to this storm and already working on getting President Trump to declare at least 30 counties in Texas federal disaster areas. And of course, that would allow them automatically to be eligible for assistance, federal assistance from the government to make things better.
Which is great. That's what I need.
Indeed. And he also, he talked to, all the great planning, it sounds like, and some 900 people, part of the Texas task force to be put into place, and they are here already in place, ready to help out when the storm moves through. That should give some comfort to folks who are wondering, what to do if they do sustain some damage. There will be places that you can go and people that you can turn to for help, and we're going to have more on that coming up. He's got about 500 buses ready to transport people out in the event that is necessary if their homes become.
And they do that in the past, where they will take that fleet of buses, go to a location where they think the hurricane might make landfall, and if the track changes, then they convoy
easily
and move somewhere else. But they're in the right location right now.
Let's go now live to Heather Gustafson, who is live at NAS Corpus Christi. Of course, very close to the water on both sides on Corpus Christi Bay.
It's going to be windy out there.
And in the Gulf, and that's going to be one of the hot spots for wind. Heather?
Well, so we were on the island earlier, and we said it was time to evacuate the island. Now we're right at the entrance to Corpus Christi A&M. A&M Corpus Christi is right down this road, but you can barely see it. What I can see, and what's hard to see because of all of the gray mist and the clouds and rain, is the waves. They're coming up, they're getting higher. I was told that this road on Ocean, it takes about 8 feet to get this road flooded. So we're getting reports from our experts that 10, 15 feet of water from the storm surge to come up. So this area could be flooded very soon. I'm just going to hold on to this pole because it is getting so windy out here. We heard reports that the wind speeds are up to 160 miles in some areas, because this was just upgraded to a Category 3 hurricane. But in this area, I asked our weather experts before I left the station, and I said, it has to be 90 miles per hour. It has to be 100 miles per hour. They said, it's about 60 miles per hour right now where I'm standing. At least that was the report I got in the last hour. And it's taking my breath away right now to stand here and talk to you. You can see some of the signs. They're just holding on for dear life like I am. Some of these street signs, they are looking like they're about to blow away. We drove down Ocean, and we saw a lot of street signs knocked over, stop signs holding on for dear life. So down here by Texas A&M Corpus Christi, it is not a place that you want to be. The winds are incredibly strong. The rain, it's raining. It feels like bullets coming down, but I don't even notice the rain because the winds are just so strong right now. And you can take a look at the road. We're looking at Ennis Jocelyn at the intersection of Ocean, and surprisingly, there are still some cars out here, but the winds are probably the worst part of this. I would have to check back in with Rosetti and see exactly how strong the winds are right now. But an hour ago, right around 1 o'clock, I was told that the winds in this area are 60 miles per hour. It feels like 100 plus miles per hour. And of course, with the Category 3 upgrade, that means winds are well above the 100. So we left Padre Island. Padre Island is not a place that you can leave at this point. The causeway was flooding as we left. So now, I have to say that the road going towards NASCC and Texas A&M Corpus Christi is probably a road that we are going to leave to. It's not a place you want to be down. And if the street signs behind me are holding on for dear life, if I can barely stand right now in this striped parking lot, then this is not a place that you should be. We're gonna get more inland. I can't believe the wind right now. It's pushing me over. It is, and you can feel that it's picking up. So we're gonna head more inland and see what's going on up there. But as for the island, as for this area by the university, if you are here, if you're in your house, I would hunker down. I would be in a bathroom, in a closet, anywhere that doesn't have windows where debris could fly in. I can't believe that the striped store that we're standing right next to, none of their windows are boarded up. That makes me nervous. So if you are home, hopefully you do have your windows boarded up and just get to a place that's safe, away from windows, because the winds are picking up, I can tell you that. And this is not a place you want to be. We're going to send it back to you guys in the studio, and maybe Billy, you can tell us exactly how high the winds are right now. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right. Now that it should be pointed, she's just a little thing.
Yes.
She might get buffeted around. Yeah, the wind is very strong. I didn't see any serious damage yet. That is a good thing.
Yeah.
And we saw something kind of flapping there. It might have been a shingle of some sort, but you know, the wind. It is possible to have that happen. Where she was, we were talking about NAS Corpus Christi. That, of course, is still up the road, a little bit past the university there. But the good thing is, so far we haven't seen any damage in that area. That's not to say it won't happen.
And which band are we on right now, Bill? I mean, it's still outer, but
I know we have the mayor here. Can we pop up this graphic? Because this has the sustained winds real quick. And then, Katya, I'll get to your question. But there are sustained winds. So at NAS Corpus Christi, sustained at 45 right now. And the gusts at NAS Corpus Christi, 62. So she wasn't.
So that's what she was.
She wasn't too far from that. Let me go backwards, Katya, and we'll catch the. There you go. You know, there. I mean, we're getting mighty close.
That those little squiggly things there. Is that lightning?
Well, the lightning is the squiggly things, but see the rotation, that is strong updraft. That could be the beginnings of a funnel cloud. All right.
Okay.
So the squiggly things are lightning, and the rotation things on a normal weather day or a thunderstorm day, they usually denote strong updraft. But on a day like today, that could signify the possibility of funnel cloud developing in that area. And those, over the next 12 hours we're with you, you'll see those round things, and you'll see a lot of the squiggly things, which are lightning. So, Katya, to answer your question, we're getting into we're that close to maybe the second band right now, the first band being the actual storm.
What did you say? Maybe, around 6, 7? Are we still thinking of that for the eye?
Well, again, if the eye is supposedly, and again, it's still a computer model, but it looks like it's going to be in we'll say, Rockport area. Mm-hmm. It still has to pass Corpus Christi on the way there. And we saw that tropical storm force, hurricane force winds extend 35 miles out. So if that thing gets within 35 miles of us, which is a distinct possibility as it moves toward landfall, then we could catch some serious damaging winds and some strong, heavy rain. And that's that very right around the eye where the lightning is and where the rotation thing is. That is the worst weather out there right now.
And that's not what we want, but it's going to somebody's going to get that later today. And our friends who have been in Port Lavaca earlier and even in Rockport, they've been talking that they're on the top side of the quadrant, the top side of that storm. And that's, just thinking, just coming in. The back side of it is going away. So it's not as strong, still potent, but not as strong as that first one, just whipping in.
Yeah. Our Curtis Quitland from KCEN and Waco joining us here with a look at what's happening on Padre Island right now. Curtis?
The winds continue to pick up in intensity on North Padre Island, starting to blow me over and trying to take my hat with me. The trees around this hotel here on South Padre Island Drive, if you can look, you can see some of the palms are pretty much facing straight back. Some of the trees on the other side of this hotel are starting to bow because the wind speeds are so strong. Another thing to show you, traffic continues to move back toward the mainland. We didn't see any cars on the highway earlier today. When you compare it to what we're seeing now, it's an incredible spike in traffic. People heading back toward mainland Corpus Christi, trying to get away as Harvey continues to barrel toward the South Texas coast. And people are trying to get away from him and get to higher ground at this point. We are on North Padre right now. Curtis Quillen, 3 News. Guys, back to you.
Hey, Curtis, thank you so much for that. It's interesting to see we still have those cars that are out on the road right now and
Trying to get off.
trying to get, which is
Hope that's it.
hopefully, right?
Yeah.
But this is such not the best time to be doing that. We've seen the cars.
Well,
just
you don't want to be
sort of-
you don't want to be on
be
the island
stuck
right
either.
now.
Yeah.
So I would say you want to be off the island if at all possible. So if you can do that safely, that would not be a bad
We were
plan
talking.
of action.
We were talking earlier. If you're watching us on TV from home, the decision has made that you're staying. There's no reason for you to go out.
What about if you're on the island though? Even like those people.
You
what do
better
you
get
think?
out quickly
Get out
because
quickly.
you
Yeah.
see how
Yeah.
you saw Heather. Those
Right.
winds.
Right.
Yeah, it's only going to get a little worse.
Yeah.
A lot worse. Than
Yeah.
that. So
I'm trying to get in touch with our friends over at AP. They said they're going to contact us about power outages and how to handle them, that kind of stuff. Waiting on them to get back to us, and also the mayor. We're going to
we're checking
try
with him.
to
We'll
reach him and talk with him here shortly.
make contact. We're going to do it on the phone this time because, as we said, traveling around is not advised.
We're all here,
We're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And that is just so important. Police Chief Mike Markle made that very clear. He said, if you don't have to be out, don't be out. And for obvious reasons, but it's also so dangerous for others. Okay, well, we understand Mayor McComb is on the phone now. We appreciate your taking time out of what must be a busy time for you, Mayor.
Hi, Mayor.
Hello, how are y'all?
We're doing okay. What's it look like to you out there? Someone who has been through Celia and other serious storms. We doing okay so far?
Well, from what I can tell, the city obviously is coming down in hunker down mode. I've left City Hall. I'm working my way back to my house. I'm stopped here at my business now, making sure that it's all locked up. I see they've got the windows boarded up. Not much traffic on the street, and that's the way it ought to be. There ought not to be any. And as soon as I can get home, then maybe I'll be the last.
Have you, I know the city has done a lot in the way of planning for this event. Have you seen any snags in that plan, anything that, you wish had been done differently? I just lost the mayor. Okay, we'll get him back. We'll reestablish. Yeah. And that's kind of what happens. Hope he's okay. He is, I think, driving. But
well, he said he had pulled over.
Oh, did he go?
So,
okay.
Yeah. So, which is it's good to know. But again, also he's out on the road, and we wish him obviously the best out there.
Can the folks in back, can they pop up a picture of the tower cam? Because I think I hear some heavy rain on our roof. I want to see what it looks like out there, if you don't mind.
Look at that. Can barely, and that's an indication because we don't often see the tower cam just inundated by rain. Look at that.
Okay.
Okay.
We got the mayor back, guys.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Mayor McComb. What happened? Did you push the wrong button?
Well, I don't know what happened. We just got cut off. I don't know what it was.
Well, what I was asking you had to do with the planning effort, and I don't know if you heard my question, but has it all gone exactly according to plan, or has there been anything that perhaps could have been done differently that we've learned so far that needs to be changed for next time?
Yeah, from my standpoint, I think it's gone extremely well as planned. I think probably there'll be an assessment following it with all the people that are in the planning process and in charge, the fire and police, emergency management. But from comments I heard from them, I think everything is going the way it's planned. And they're very pleased with the responses we've gotten from people. And they're just hoping that we reach our goal of no fatalities and that's our goal. Is we don't want to see anybody have loss of life, and
Right.
cars, houses, and carpet, clothes, they can all be replaced or repaired. So we're interested in keeping people safe.
Mayor, we had some people asking us, what do you say to the folks that stayed behind?
Well, for those that stayed behind, I hope they're in a safe location, a high location, and that we'll get through this and move on. So that at this point, we just stay where you are, stay off the streets, because even if you're driving down the street, there may be a hole behind that piece of asphalt that used to be there. It's not there anymore. So don't drive unless you can see asphalt. And just really, there's no reason to be out on the street. Nothing's open. So you might as well just stay home and rest and read a book, watch television, and then let time pass. And then we'll be ready to get out and go back to a normal routine once this storm runs its course.
That's what someone brought up here earlier, Mayor, that you can rediscover books.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Because there won't be any electricity. In your,
you and Kathy are going to be hoarse if you stay on much longer. Y'all been going at it for 2 days.
It's too late, I think.
I'm not sure.
We already are. Mayor, I'm sure you've had a number of planning meetings and isolated things that are going to be challenges as we move forward. Is there one specific thing that you have identified as a group that is the biggest challenge? I'm talking about, something specific that we could focus on.
Well, it's kind of interesting. I don't know as far as the planning people go. What I have seen is that there evidently, and it's obvious, that there's a tremendous amount of public. It's kind of interesting. People don't like the government. They don't. They don't care much for it. The government's always being criticized, and I'm one to criticize it. I'm not making an exception to myself. And it really appears that people have really begun to look to government, maybe a little too much in some cases. So, because if I don't have anything new to say, I really don't know that there's a reason to say it. But I've come to the belief that now that instead of having, say, a press conference in the morning and at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, that, there may need to be additional news conferences. If nothing else to say, we're still here, we're working, but I don't have anything new to tell you. I think that brings a level of comfort to people. So we might want to try to be a little more frequent with our press releases or our press conferences.
Sure.
Even though there may not be a lot of new information, at least it confirms that people haven't been forgotten. I think that's one lesson I've learned so far.
Well, I appreciate that, and I think we can help facilitate that for you. And we would, if you're willing, we'd like to check back with you a few times during the course of this event and crisis to make sure that that is the case, that everything is being done, that there is no.
I don't have a problem with that. You've got my number, and if the system's still up and running, I'll be happy to visit with you and tell you anything new that I know, or that we're doing okay, we're hanging in there, whatever. But I think people just they want that reassurance, and
yeah.
I agree.
And I think we will increase the number of public appearances in terms of press conferences in the future, because for those of us in the planning and having to do all the meetings and we get to the end of it, well, there's not a whole lot to tell folks now. Let's don't bother them. On the other hand, people want to hear that we're at least meeting and trying to stay abreast of what's happening, and we just need to communicate that better.
Mayor, I'm going to ask this. This is looking a little bit forward, but some folks that were leaving town, obviously, everybody hates to leave their homes. They hate to leave, everything that they worked so hard for. But, doing one of the best things to leave town, especially if they were in the low-lying areas. But one of the questions that we were getting a lot is, at what point do you think they'll be able to come back? I mean, we haven't assessed any type of damage. The storm is not really here, the eye of it. But at what point do you think people may be able to come back? And how, I know you'll tell us, but, what would you say to them?
Well, that's really kind of going to depend. I think if you lose power, according to what AEP has told us, that if you lose power, depending on what the water situation is, I mean, they can't get in to start really making their repairs on down power lines and transformers and telephone poles and that sort of thing. I mean, they can't go in the middle of a flood area. So it could be 48 hours or more, probably 48 hours minimum if you lose power. So you wouldn't necessarily want to come back if you didn't have to, if you didn't have power, because once this storm passes and the sun shines again, and it will, this is August and September, it's going to be hot and it's going to be humid. There's not going to be any air conditioning. And, but on the other hand, if you've left with a refrigerator or a freezer full of food, you want to get back and get it out as quickly as possible.
Let me bring a couple of specific issues, Mayor, before we let you go. And that is one, I've received one indication is rather disturbing, frankly, that some island residents have said they have seen people out there that appeared to be in the process of looting. And this, we hate to hear about stories like this, but what kind of security is in place on the island for folks who have left their homes there?
Well, I'd have to refer you to the police chief, Joe, on that one, because I'm not sure. I know they've got a barricade there, a 361 going towards Port Aransas, but there's still a lot of people on the island. So, I mean, you just couldn't block people off of the island. But if you can reach the chief, he would be able to give you a direct answer on that, and I'd hate to speculate. But it wouldn't hurt to call him and just tell him you heard those reports.
Okay. As far as you know, though, there is, people, there may not be a blockage yet, but there would be police manning, say, the JFK Causeway to monitor traffic going back to the island, or do you not know?
I would think so, up to a point that made it dangerous for vehicles to be on the road. I mean, if it gets up to 100-mile-an-hour wind or something, that's not good for vehicles to be on the road. So if they're on the island, they're on the island. But the safety of the officers obviously are going to be number one. But I think the chief will do everything within his power to keep people safe and prevent that kind of stuff. So it probably wouldn't hurt to call him and find out exactly what the game plan is. But I really would hate to speak to it.
Okay.
All right.
We will absolutely do that.
Mayor, thank you so much for joining us and for taking the time.
Feel free to call me, and if the phone's working and my battery's not dead, I'll be happy to visit with you.
Charge that phone, Mayor. Charge that phone. Thank you. Be safe. We appreciate it. Thank you, Mayor.
Bye-bye.
I've been in touch with AEP, and we're actually going to talk to them here in just a moment.
Okay.
It's so interesting that the mayor brought up about the refrigerators, because it made me think of Katrina and people coming back early, because I have to share this. My mom was, and I remember Katrina, we were doing the morning show. It was Friday, and Katrina was scheduled to make a hard turn to hit Florida. Woke up Saturday, and its bullseye was straight to New Orleans. And I remember my mom owns a day spa in New Orleans, and I called her and I said, "You got to get out. Are you leaving? What are you doing?" And she was blow drying hair, and customers were still at the salon. And they had it through New Orleans. Like, we never leave. We never evacuate, that kind of thing. A few hours later, it was time to get out of Dodge. Unfortunately, she got out. She went back 2 weeks later, despite the fact that they were not really allowing people back in. But she was one of these people that wanted to get home, see what was happening. And sure enough, a few weeks later, you saw all these refrigerators. You remember this? Out. Everybody tossing their refrigerators, because they were just filled with food, and it was just this. I hope that that's not what we're going to have to see here.
I think,
it's such a different. I know it's a different storm, but him bringing that up is certainly is bringing back a lot of memories.
Can I interject something before? We're talking to him on his cell phone. I'm sure it might get to a point where you lose cell phone service. All right. Listen, texting gets through when cell phones.
Good call about that. Yeah.
Don't make it. All right. So if you lose communication, you can't get a call through, send a text. And that is usually easier in times like this to make a connection with somebody.
All right. Good point, Bill.
We don't have Heather. Not right now.
All right.
Okay.
We have someone from our extended Tegna crew.
Our family.
We really can't say enough about how valuable they are for us. Standing by at where? Rodfield and Holly at a gas station there. Let's go to that report now.
As rain and wind intensifies, residents are trying to find gas stations to try to top off their tanks. Well, that's certainly the case here at Rodfield and Holly. This Sunoco still has gas, and that's why you see a line of residents here trying to pump gas and fill their tanks up. Now, it's also a place where people are trying to get their last-minute supplies, such as water, beer, and whatever they can find before they go back to their homes and brave the storm. Now, let's listen into what a couple of residents were telling us today.
Yeah, there's a couple other convenience stores by our house that did close.
I'm glad this one's open. We have gas, but we just wanted to get a little bit more.
Just getting your final supplies.
Final supply before we head out.
And after you head back home, are you guys planning to go back out anytime?
No.
Absolutely.
This is it. You got to see. I don't know.
Got to stay hunkered down because there's a lot of elderly people that I work for that have kind of been stubborn and decided to stay, even though the news, Alan Holt with Channel 3 has told them, get up and leave. But some are just, they're Texans. You can't tell a Texan what they want and what to do.
As a reminder, the staff here has told me that they're going to remain open during the next hour or so. So if you need to get some gas or last-minute supplies, make sure you come over to this location on Rodfield and Holly before they do.
Get up and leave. But some are just, they're Texans. You can't tell a Texan what they want and what to do.
As a reminder, the staff here has told me that they're going to remain open during the next hour or so. So if you need to get some gas or last-minute supplies, make sure you come over to this location on Rodfield and Holly before they do.
Get up and leave. But some are just, they're Texans. You can't tell a Texan what they want and what to do.
As a reminder, the staff here has told me that they're going to remain open during the next hour or so. So if you need to get some gas or last-minute supplies, make sure you come over to this location on Rodfield and Holly before they do.
Get up and leave. But some are just, they're Texans. You can't tell a Texan what they want and what to do.
As a reminder, the staff here has told me that they're going to remain open during the next hour or so. So if you need to get some gas or last-minute supplies, make sure you come over to this location on Rodfield and Holly before they do.
Get up and leave. But some are just, they're Texans. You can't tell a Texan what they want and what to do.
As a reminder, the staff here has told me that they're going to remain open during the next hour or so. So if you need to get some gas or last-minute supplies, make sure you come over to this location on Rodfield and Holly before they do.
Get up and leave. But some are just, they're Texans. You can't tell a Texan what they want and what to do.
As a reminder, the staff here has told me that they're going to remain open during the next hour or so. So if you need to get some gas or last-minute supplies, make sure you come over to this location on Rodfield and Holly before they do.
Get up and leave. But some are just, they're Texans. You can't tell a Texan what they want and what to do.
As a reminder, the staff here has told me that they're going to remain open during the next hour or so. So if you need to get some gas or last-minute supplies, make sure you come over to this location on Rodfield and Holly before they do.
Get up and leave. But some are just, they're Texans. You can't tell a Texan what they want and what to do.
As a reminder, the staff here has told me that they're going to remain open during the next hour or so. So if you need to get some gas or last-minute supplies, make sure you come over to this location on Rodfield and Holly before they do.
Get up and leave. But some are just, they're Texans. You can't tell a Texan what they want and what to do.
As a reminder, the staff here has told me that they're going to remain open during the next hour or so. So if you need to get some gas or last-minute supplies, make sure you come over to this location on Rodfield and Holly before they do.
Get up and leave. But some are just, they're Texans. You can't tell a Texan what they want and what to do.
As a reminder, the staff here has told me that they're going to remain open during the next hour or so. So if you need to get some gas or last-minute supplies, make sure you come over to this location on Rodfield and Holly before they do.
Get up and leave. But some are just, they're Texans. You can't tell a Texan what they want and what to do.
As a reminder, the staff here has told me that they're going to remain open during the next hour or so. So if you need to get some gas or last minute supplies, make sure you come over to this location on Rodfield and Holly before they do get up and leave. But some are just, they're Texans. You can't tell a Texan what they want and what to do. As a reminder, the staff here has told me that they're going to remain open during the next hour or so. So if you need to get some gas or last minute supplies, make sure you come over to this location on Rodfield and Holly before they do get up and leave. But some are just, they're Texans. You can't tell a Texan what they want and what to do. As a reminder, the staff here has told me that they're going to remain open during the next hour or so. So if you need to get some gas or last minute supplies, make sure you come over to this location on Rodfield and Holly before they do get up and leave. But some are just, they're Texans. You can't tell a Texan what they want and what to do. As a reminder, the staff here has told me that they're going to remain open during the next hour or so. So if you need to get some gas or last minute supplies, make sure you come over to this location on Rodfield and Holly before they do get up and leave. But some are just, they're Texans. You can't tell a Texan what they want and what to do. As a reminder, the staff here has told me that they're going to remain open during the next hour or so. So if you need to get some gas or last minute supplies, make sure you come over to this location on Rodfield and Holly before they do get up and leave. But some are just, they're Texans. You can't tell a Texan what they want and what to do. As a reminder, the staff here has told me that they're going to remain open during the next hour or so. So if you need to get some gas or last minute supplies, make sure you come over to this location on Rodfield and Holly before they do get up and leave. But some are just, they're Texans. You can't tell a Texan what they want and what to do. As a reminder, the staff here has told me that they're going to remain open during the next hour or so. So if you need to get some gas or last minute supplies, make sure you come over to this location on Rodfield and Holly before they do get up and leave. But some are just, they're Texans. You can't tell a Texan what they want and what to do. As a reminder, the staff here has